And we're back. How you guys doing? I'm amazing, as I said a minute ago. We're gonna jump right back in. A couple observations I wanted to note. One, I've got this like blue because of where I'm sitting in the shade and the way the light is or is not hitting me. I've got this like blue aura on myself. And as I noticed that, I was like, oh my God, I did that last segment without my intentional music. So I chose a crown frequency. So I'm really excited because I haven't done any of this conversation with Crown before, so I'm interested to see what that frequency adds to the conversation. I'm gonna jump back in and get back to True Detective uh, transcript. I don't remember which episode this is. It's early on. It's probably two. Um, but Marty's talking. He says, "I think human consciousness is a tragic misstep in evolution." Oh yeah. We became too self aware. Nature created an aspect of nature separate from itself. Talking about the creation of man, creation of humanity. We are creatures that should not exist by natural law. We are things that labor under the illusion of having a self. This accretion of sensory experience and feeling, programmed with total assurance that we are each somebody when in fact everybody's nobody. I love this. People around here don't think that way. So this is Cole responding to Marty. People around here don't think that way. I don't think that way. I think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. This is going back. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight. Brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal. So, what's the point of getting out of bed in the morning? I tell myself I bear witness. The real reason is that it's obviously my programming, and I lack the constitution for suicide. My luck, I picked today to get to know you. 3 months, I don't hear a word from you. And you asked, yeah. And now I'm getting, I'm going to tell you to shut the fuck up. I got an idea. Let's make the car a place of silent reflection from now on, okay? Oh, this is so great. And so that same character later that night, or later, a few moments later, still in the car on a conversation on the way to work. Listen, when you're at my house, I want you to chill the fuck out, okay? Uh, okay, so this is the same character, Cole, reflecting on uh, Marty, who he's just told his partner. This is his. These guys are detectives, right? That's why the show's called True Detective. But he's like telling that he's talking to investigators 20 years later about his relationship with his partner, and so he says about him that he's smart and aloof. Of course, I responded to that because I've been aloof my whole life. Doesn't really care about making friends, but he's already running with it. He's got a real mind for it, so he's assessing his uh, ability, his what do you call it? His natural proclivity to do this work. This place is like someone's memory of a town. Okay, so this is probably another day, but Marty again starts with his philosophy, existential philosophy. This place is like it's like someone's memory of a town. It's like there was never anything here but jungle. And this is his partner. Stop saying shit like that. It's unprofessional. Given how long it's taken for me to reconcile my nature, I can't figure out I'd forgo it on your account, Marty. Right. So Marty is the critique and Cole is the pessimist. Get any sleep last night? I don't sleep, I just dream. So now I'm making a note for myself. In all of my old jobs, I was easily distracted. I felt like I was just marking time until my calling showed up, and that's what to get my complete attention. But the rules of any government position were old, archaic frames created by someone else who never even thought I'd be there. I wasn't loyal to any of it. This part must be carefully described. Be honest, but don't impugn your own character. So now I'm talking to myself about how I should talk about myself. That would not be accurate. I saw myself as Nehemiah in the king's court. Yeah, this is very much my old paradigm. Here's another note. There is an ease with which he moves in and out of different people groups as if he belongs everywhere and nowhere. Boston, New York, D.C. Now, I'm talking about myself, but I'm speaking about myself in the third person. So that's just really interesting. Not sure why I'm doing that. Another note. How difficult it is, how difficult it used to be for me to sleep when I'm working on a project. I start dreaming it, imagining it, designing, composing, writing, my notepad on my nightstand. Now, of course, I was about to I was about to side note it, but it's actually written here. Now my laptop and tablet and phone are on my bed. This is my everyday life. Here's another note. I need to be on the lookout for crowns throughout the narrative. So if you remember at the beginning of the last conversation, the last working conversation we had, I spent a lot of time establishing intention, and that the intention of this book appears to be more crown energy than anything else. And I think the reason why that is because the first book was root energy at the base of the spine. This book is crown energy at the top of the spine, top of the body, and extending out. And I think that's probably necessary because once you secure your own person, right? If you're a baby, you learn to walk. If you're a kid, you learn to drive. If you're a professional, you learn a skill. You then immediately begin to enter the universe as a person, as an entity, and interplay with it, interact with it. Um, and so to me, it makes sense that first you have to establish your identity. And there's a lot of things that happen, right, between root and crown, but I'm going to incorporate them creatively in this presentation. And the end result is optimizing the number of outcomes that can exist when you are intentional about having um, a personal impact on your environment. So that's crown. So I'm making myself a note to look out for possible crowns, literal crowns as symbols um, throughout the narrative, right? Crown represents power, glory, immortality, royalty, and sovereignty. And there's a link. That's a powerful image. Here again is the Logan screenplay. I've always thought we were part of God's plan, but maybe we were God's mistake. That's Logan. There's a Amazon Prime commercial that I liked, and so I included a link here. Find your story, then reimagine it. Find your way, then lose it. Find your limit, then break it. Change the perspective, change the experience, change the narrative. I remember the commercial now. Yeah, that's their new studio advertisement, which I absolutely love and plan on incorporating in some ways. Because that's kind of like my whole theme. Burst your own bubble, right? Automatic truth machine. So I had this idea. What if we had something like an ATM, but it wasn't cash? It was energy. Automatic truth machine tells the truth in every situation, works in all lives and universes. Heaven, gas, heaven and gas, no anxiety with inflation because we have the confidence that there's more in reserve than I'll ever be called on to pay. Absolutely love that. That's huge. What chapter would that go in? Not discovery, not survival, not belonging. Maybe play, because I don't have a lot. I don't have a lot of subtitles in play yet. Maybe this is play. Don't forget to do a write up on staying at Mama Anna's house growing up. That's my grandmother, my dad's mom. Dad picked me up after kindergarten and took me over her house. Lunch stories, and here stories are the stories, right? Soap operas. Lunch stories, traditional gospel scene at home, and the truth about dad. Yeah, so Mama Anna was very, she was a practical theologian, if ever there was one. She had this way in which God was everything and everything was God. But she wasn't silly with it. It all had a practical, pragmatic application. And if it didn't, it was foolishness. Whatever it was. I'm very much becoming uh, more comfortable as a practical theologian, which I suspected I always was, but I enjoy complexity and solving problems, and finding strategies so much that I think I jumped into the mire just because I could do well with it. There is a YouTube link here for losing it all. I'm not sure what that is. I put box of photographs again. I think I heard it on that other day and included it again. Perhaps I should include sensory data of memories and photographs. Oh, that's just why. Perhaps I should include sensory data of memories and photographs, food, cars, scars, bruises, fights, songs, etc. I think this is a very good idea, and I think I should do this. I think I should signal that I'm doing it in the introduction, but I think I should do it throughout the book. And maybe there is in the margins these little markers, these memory markers that kind of track a progression of memories and thoughts and ideas and how they change over time. I'm not sure what that would look like, but it's a great idea. Or maybe when I do another edition, this is a workbook, when that's incorporated in a workbook. Omar. So we're now in another show called The Wire. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but because I am an artist, very creative, I have discovered that the way I choose my entertainment is very much a reflection of what I want to work on in my self care. So I include a lot of things from TV shows that I'm watching because I'm becoming more aware, more conscious of it, and I want to discuss these elements in the book. So that's why so many references to pop culture and television and movies and books specifically. This is The Wire, episode 6, season 1. I'm saying, what we ain't at no real police why we ain't at no real police office. So Omar walks into the what do you call it? The office where they're doing the sting operation. They've just killed, and by they I'm talking about uh, Barksdale, Avon Barksdale. Avon's Avon's group has just killed Omar's boyfriend, tortured him, mutilated him, because Omar stole the stash from Avon. So this was a retaliation. But Omar now has agreed to cooperate with this special team to arrest and prosecute Avon and his crew. So he's walking into their office and he's like, why we ain't at no real police office. McNulty, the kind of main detective that the story revolves around, says, "Oh, we're a little like you, Omar, out here on our own, playing the game for ourselves." Omar says, "Hard way to go sometime." This is interesting for me. I'm not exactly sure why I included this, but I think I have, and I love Omar. He's my favorite character of the series by far. He may be the best character HBO's ever produced. But his comment, "hard way to go sometime," is how I've always thought about myself. And it may be some indications about why I connect to Omar the way I do. Also, it should be noted Michael K. Williams just passed away, overdosed on drugs. He thought he was buying one kind of drug. He's had problems with addiction. He's very famously identified his journey through addiction. Um, but he died in his apartment, and whatever he bought was laced with fentanyl. And so that has just, that's, I guess it happened a month, maybe 2 months ago. But that's why, that's why I have been connecting more to him recently. He's the kind of actor who I felt like I would have been really close to. He's also an amazing dancer. He's just a great guy. A lot of energy.